All right. Welcome back once again to Inside the Matrix. We're so happy that you're here with us today. And we're really happy that Katie Raine is back with us today. Yes, indeed. For part two. Let's see. Let me bring her in here. Katie, how are you?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm doing great. Thank you.
So good to see you.
It's so awesome to be here. I'm excited. I love your energy. I love your show. So
Oh,
this,
thank you so
yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, I've been kind of following your trek. You've been very, very busy and going all over the place. So, for those of our listeners who haven't caught up with you since the last time you were on the show, give us an idea of where you've been and what you've been up to.
And guys, we did not plan to wear matching shirts.
No, we didn't plan to both wear Space Force shirts, but we do like them.
I know Jimmy's like, oh, I should wear mine. I'm like, go get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this, but Space Force isn't just, America based. It's global. It's the global umbrella of all military factions. So moving forward, it's a pretty big, it's basically all of humanity united, which is a beautiful thing. And I'm going to go into a bit of what the symbol represents.
Okay, great.
A little bit.
Great.
A lot of people don't know, but it's very feminine, actually. Yeah. I've been all over the place, really. Like I'm nomadic, so I basically just go where spirit tells me to go, on the drop of a dime, and that's how I live my life. Just listening to, spirit guides me to this place, that place, and I sometimes don't know why I'm told to go certain places, but I just do it, and then I find out later. And so I'm connected to a pretty big mission here. I reincarnated to resurrect a number of advanced ancestral plasma ship technologies that were left here thousands and thousands of years ago that we're coming back into resonance with to meet physically through this ascension process. So as some people don't know, time is not linear. That's a program. It's actually like more of a spiral. So like when we come into resonance with an event, that's when we experience it. So we are increasing in resonance right now in frequency. And you can kind of think of like the propeller on an airplane when it spins. You can't really see it. It starts to disappear. So we're the atoms in our physical flesh suit are going to be vibrating faster and faster and faster. And it will have more expansion in our energy field as we go through this process. And with that, we're going to be coming back into resonance with a lot of our brothers and sisters who are galactic, let's just say, or who are from the inner earth, or who are elemental, the elemental guardians. And so we're going to start to see a lot more other beings in this, like with our physical naked eye as we go through this process. And we're going to meet these technologies that we had left here, which are basically, in a way, they're like time capsules. They got lots of advanced technology in them and different plant life. And they're plasma ship technology, so they can move. And we're going to build these intergalactic hubs around to house these technologies. So they are Earth-based. They're going to remain Earth-based. And they're connected to intergalactic mothership that is in orbit of one of Jupiter's moons at the moment. Which I'll go into a little bit later. But yeah, so that's my main mission, my main focus. So there's a lot of preparation, and it's heavily connected to the grid system, the planetary grid system. So we do a lot of grid work. I work with a number of people. I don't just work with myself. There's a whole team behind the scenes that are preparing for this and putting everything into place to basically, get these ships activated and the crew members activated. And it's like so exciting because we're at the cusp of something so massive. Like a lot of people don't understand the extent of what we're going through. But it's like intergalactically, everyone's eyes are on Earth right now because this is something that has never happened before in galactic history. And it's so exciting. And we have so much assistance. We got boots on the ground, boots in the sky, boots in the sea, boots everywhere helping us out in multiple dimensions. So, and there's so many different layers to this. It's it's so magical. And so yeah, that's been my main focus. I've been over to Ireland for to do some missions over there recently, connected to my ancestry. So my grandfather's side of the family is an ancient Druidic bloodline. And so I was doing some work connected to his bloodline that goes all the way back to a lot of the ancient wisdom that connects to the land and the ancient gates. So when Q says mirror effect, what that means is those two land masses, Turtle Island and Europe and Africa, used to be connected together. And so there's teleportation points east and west. So the Druids never actually crossed the Atlantic. They took the teleportation gates. And underneath, it's like this. Like, so there's a central frequency point underneath that is the same frequency. So you got a mirror effect happening where on, say, the east coast of America, there's certain points on the land that connect to the west coast of Europe, Ireland, Africa. So there's like, in a way, I call them jump points. So you can jump to and from if you know how to access these gates. So they were closed for a very long time. And we recently had a mission where we reopened them up. And about a few weeks later, we got word that, and a lot of them are water-based gateways. So like they're water portals. And we got confirmation. A friend of mine messaged me. She's like, whatever you did in Ireland, it was huge because all the wells, all the sacred wells are overflowing there right now.
Wow.
So yeah, so we were working with that. That heavily connects to basically the planet. Like what we're doing is we're restoring the planetary grid system to its original blueprint prior to distortion. Because what the dark faction have done, they basically came here and messed everything up and rewired everything and overlaid it with, all their trauma-based, codes and satanic overlay, let's just say. So we're clearing that and restoring it back to the ancient blueprint of the planetary system. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of work over there. I was in Portugal for a while, connecting with a lot of the Templar information, and that connects to the Azores. And then I went over to the Truth Tour recently, the Lewis Herms Truth Tour. So I was down in Florida. I'm still down in Florida, where I'm doing a lot of work with the Alliance down here, which is it's a huge hub here for the Alliance. And we do have a plasma ship that's in the Gulf of Mexico as well. So, and there's a Stargate system down here that we've been connecting with. So yeah, I've been working down here. I've been here for the last couple weeks, I'd say. And then, yeah, I've been over to Nova Scotia as well. And yeah, I've been all over the place. It's nonstop.
That's awesome. That's really great. And so some of our listeners are going to be totally up to speed with you. And some of them are going to be embroiled and enmeshed in the drama, the public drama, the political drama, financial drama that's going on in the world. And it's easy to get sucked in. I find myself going, "Oh my God, this is this happening, that's happening," and then I have to step back and go, "Wait a minute. We're watching a movie play out here, so calm down."
Exactly. And the Alliance, because I communicate with them telepathically, but to a couple of the representatives, one of my main guides, he's connected big time, but they're pretty frustrated with humanity right now, because especially the truther community, because what's going on. So this movie that's playing out in the public eye, it's created to wake up the sleepers, and so it's not real. It's like a reverse MK Ultra programming. But what's going on is that a lot of the truthers are getting hooked into the drama and the movie and feeding it emotional energy and life force. And so it's creating a time loop effect. And so we're unable, like, it's really slowing things down on a quantum level. So instead of reaching quantum momentum to project us forward into the future and what we actually, as gods and goddesses, manifesting creators, that's what we are. We're, instead of focusing on what we want to create and rebuild and restructure and what we want to leave for the for the future generations, our children, because that's where the focus should be. Like, what do we want to leave for our children? They're getting caught up in this movie, and almost in a way dissecting it, and it's becoming hyper focused and hyper, and that's not what the Alliance want the truther community to focus on, because it's like literally they're getting stuck in a time loop. And a lot of these truthers have a lot of influence, right? They have a massive audience, which comes with accountability and responsibility. So the Alliance is watching every single one of these truthers, and if they're feeding into that system, it's not serving humanity at all. It's actually doing the opposite. So they want me to specifically, basically, talk about this and in a way that is in a way people can grasp. So they really are stressing us. They want us to focus on the future, what we want to create as powerful manifesting beings. Because a lot of the truthers have a lot of passion, a lot of drive, a lot of energy, and they're just, it's like tunnel vision, right? And so that's what we need to really shift.
Yeah, I agree. The challenge that we have, though, is that the messages that you bring, and there are a few others out there who are bringing it, you guys aren't on CNN. You're not on MSNBC. You're not on the places where we'd love to see you be, so that this kind of a message can go out to the masses. But then on the other hand, that's going to be maybe too big of a leap for a lot of so-called normies to make. So we still need to bridge that mass communication gap, and I don't think we're there yet. You know, there's, like you said, there's a lot of channels, truther channels. There's a lot of them that have really large audiences, but they're mainly focused on the drama, on the movie that's playing out.
And so it's for the sleepers. It's not for them.
So how do we get that? You know, maybe when you connect with the Galactics again, say, look, how do we jump from where we are right now with getting, you know, the message out to, you know, a higher level of communication?
We don't need to, the thing is, we don't need to get the message out, because the Alliance is doing that through the movie. Like, so for example, the Alliance, instead of doing this kind of energy, like overarching energetic approach, they're going like this. It's a very, so they're creating a very soft landing for humanity, a very motherly, empowering, like a nurturing, supportive energy. So it's a very slow process. And for example, you know, like they do these events. For example, everything, in my opinion, everything has already crashed. The stock market's crashed. They're falsely holding it up, and nothing is actually like it's not real what's going on. Everything has already happened behind the scenes, and they're holding everything up because the last thing they want is some big chaotic event to happen, and there's more fear and more chaos, which is going to take us backwards. And so they're in control of everything. And so, like with Silicon Valley Bank going down, when they do these events, they create them to measure the outcome. So they take the collective consciousness's reaction to these events, they gather that data, they put it into their quantum computer systems to look at the future projections and potentialities with the looking glass technology. So, and that's how they make the next decision and the next move. So they don't even know. Any truther who's putting out dates or timelines or specific timestamps is full of bullshit, because the Alliance don't even know dates themselves, right? They're looking at potentialities, because time doesn't exist. It all depends on where the collective consciousness is in terms of the ascension process. And so, for example, that Silicon Valley Bank situation, if you looked at the reaction to it, a lot of the DeFi, decentralized finance space, shot up, and silver shot up, and people start pulling their money from the banks. And so they're doing these subtle things to slowly, in a motherly supportive way, nudge, like a mama bear nudging her cub to go in the right direction. And they're going to keep on doing these little events to slowly nudge, and at the same time educating we the people. And you can just pay attention to what they're broadcasting on Fox News or whatever. Like there's signals happening, like military comms and subtle signals. So for example, the South Dakota representative, she was talking about a bill that they were trying to pass that was redefining the definition of currency, basically outlawing decentralized finance and ushering in a CBDC, centralized digital bank currency. And so she vetoed it and was like, hey, this isn't okay. This is a huge threat to our constitutional rights. And so right there, black and white, they're telling us, hey guys, you don't want CBDC. You want decentralized finance. And so they're doing these events like they're not real.
That's Governor Kristi Noem, right? That you're talking about?
Exactly. And so they're slowly educating us. And, you know, one thing is the NFT drop, the Trump NFT drop in December on Truth Social. That was an NFT smart contract trading NFT. What is that? Okay, so look at everything they do is a military comm. So that was around Christmas time. That's the time of giving and receiving. So that was a gift to we, the people, the ones who are awake. Hey guys, like pay attention to this space because we support this space. And so that again, like they're slowly, that was an early drop, but yeah, they're going to do more and more. Like they're using Elon Musk. I don't think that's the real Elon Musk. They're using his brand to basically educate and usher in, you know, where, you know, humanity, where to direct humanity that's going to liberate us. And they want us to do the work. So they're not going to do it. The Alliance are going to come with a silver platter. Hey guys, you know, here's like some millions of dollars to play with, or here's your Q phone with your digital wallet. If you know anything about digital currency, you can't learn that shit overnight. Like it's a process.
Oh, and that's for sure. Yeah.
Like nothing's instant. And the thing is, when people expect someone outside of themselves to do something for them, that is the definition of slavery, guys. You know, we have to do it. We have to do the work. And that's how we come into true sovereignty. So they're nudging us in the right direction, but they're not going to do a thing for us. So, you know, in terms of the banks collapsing, so this is what the banks do, if a lot of people don't know. The banks are the largest parasitic force on this planet. Yep. They destroy every single national economy.
They start every war.
They start, exactly. So the most powerful thing people can be doing right now is pulling their money from the banks. And there's all the tools you need are out there to do that. I've done it. I haven't used a bank in almost 2 years right now. And so what the banks do, when you give them your money, you become an automatic creditor to them. They own that money. So what they do is only 10% of that needs to be accessible. The 90 other percent they can use for whatever, and they can loan out that 90% 10x times.
I think they even got rid of that a couple of years ago to now there is no reserve.
Right. There's not even a limit anymore. So, so there, when you do the numbers, like you only need 10%, less than 10% of the population to pull their monies from the banks. Everything falls on its ass and collapse. The whole Rothschild system collapses. And this is the best thing we can do right now. And all the tools are at our disposal. Like that's why decentralized finance is needed, because it's a direct parallel system to exit out of that matrix parasitic system that's creating enslavement for we the people. For example, I totally agree with gold and silver. Don't get me wrong. Precious metals are awesome. But in third world developing countries, they are not practical, because just imagine an African family who lives in a little tin hut. You know, if they had gold and silver, physical gold and silver, that would be gone overnight, you know, like they can't. So like when you have, everyone has a smartphone in Africa. And so we got to like look outside of our borders and look at the bigger picture here. So in by nature, decentralized finance, it's deflationary. So over time, it's a hedging massively against inflation. And I can go more and more into that, but it's just like there's so much false information in the truth community, guys. Like, just turn it off. Like, the best thing you can do for yourself right now is turn it off and go within.
Well, let's touch on the whole BRICS thing, because a lot of people have. Some people say, "Oh, it's going to be the great thing." Russia and China are going to liberate us with the BRICS, but to me, it looks like just another control system, switching from the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all of them to the ancient Chinese families and the Russian oligarchs and all of that. So that's pretty much the same pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's part of the movie. They're saying that the Chinese government's going to usher in their CBDC. Everyone's going to adopt the yuan, the digital yuan. Russia's partnering with them. If Saudi Arabia starts to partner with them, then basically that is, the annihilation of the USD. So they're forewarning of what's to come. So again, it's a nudge. It's a motherly nudge. You guys take your money out of the banks and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, these things that needs to collapse. The euro needs to collapse. Because this, so-called RV, which I really believe means raising vibration. I do think that will happen to an extent, where we're going to have more of an even playing field, for all nations in the future. But in order for that to happen, the euro and the USD needs to basically tank to come onto a more even playing field. And if you look at some of the things that the alliance have been doing, for example, El Salvador was the first country in the world to fully use Bitcoin as legal tender, to approve it.
Interesting. El Salvador, huh? One of the most corrupt countries in the world.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time down there. And they used to be the most corrupt countries, but you know what? During the pandemic, they were the ones that were giving every family for free a little care package of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. So,
wow.
Yeah. So the power structure shifted for sure. But so when you think of it from a higher perspective, okay, why would they do that? Okay, they don't have a national currency. They use the US dollar. And it's a very poor country. So if the US dollar was to tank, that would create massive suffering in the country that's already suffering. So that's why they ushered in Bitcoin and decentralized finance, to encourage the people to adopt that and move their assets, because it's going to hedge massively against the inflation, the coming inflation. Same with the Central African Republic. You have their African franc pegged to the euro. The French treasury controls it. So if the euro was to tank again, you'd have the Central African Republic in ruins. And so they were the second country to fully legalize Bitcoin as tender.
Okay, here's the thing that kind of concerns me about Bitcoin, is that it's volatile. So are we ever going to see something similar to that is stable and not volatile? In other words, there's not going to be these huge swings where, you lose 50% one day, gain 25% the next. And, those kinds of things, I think really, keep a lot of people out of that market. That, if you have X amount of dollars, if you're a super wealthy person, you can throw in a bunch of money. You don't really care. If it goes up, great. If it doesn't, so what? But if you only have limited funds, are you going to put it into a Bitcoin and hope that it goes up? And then what if it doesn't? That kind of thing. So what's the plan when it comes to,
so Bitcoin's it's a long-term hold. Like long-term, it's a hedge against inflation. Short-term, like if you're just going to buy it and sell it in 2 months, then yeah, you may lose money, because you don't actually lose money until you sell it.
Right.
But you got to make like a 5-10 year goal. Look at the growth it's had in the past 5-10 years. It's the fastest growing currency there is. But it's going to stabilize once it reaches mass adoption. So right now, only 5% of the world has adopted decentralized finance. And the fastest growing population in the world region is Africa. They have the highest peer-to-peer transactions in the DeFi space. And just, okay, again, look at the bigger picture. You have Elon Musk launching Starlink in all African countries. And so once, like, everyone has a smartphone already. So once it's accessible to everyone, like, it's going to blow up. Education's not a problem anymore. A lot of Africans are graduating school. The problem is there's no jobs. So a lot of them are working in the DeFi space. There's so many opportunities to make money, and that's what's allowing them to put food on their table for their kids. So it's really helping a lot of people in this transition. It's a bridging energy, a bridging financial structure to where we're going, and we need these bridging structures. So in the long term, yeah, it's definitely a great hedge against inflation. So if you hold on to it.
So what about Nasara Jasara? Because a lot of people are in that rabbit hole, and a lot of people are waiting anxiously for 10, 15 years for it to happen and magically turn in their other currencies, which will pay out 100 to 1, or there's all these different stories. And it sounds wonderful and magical, and boy, I wish that was true, but it just seems too good to be true, doesn't it?
Well, I do believe there is a financial restructuring happening, but the thing is, when you hand okay, so this comes down to the quantum, right? You can look at it in terms of energy. In the past 2 years of my life, I got involved with the DeFi space quite heavily because, you know what? I was invested in the RV. I was invested in silver, precious metals, and I was like tired of waiting. Nothing was moving. I was down in Mexico. I wasn't working, and I was like, shit, like, I really need a weekly form of residual income. You guys got to help me out here because this is not sustainable. And I asked my guys, hey, I need a form of income. So luckily I already dipped my toes into the space, and through that space I was offered some opportunities that's basically allowed me to retire at 33. And so
Nice.
and in the space you can actually leverage your money like the banks leverage your money, and we actually teach people how to do that and walk them through it and support them 100% of the way. And because it is a very intimidating space, it's very black and white compared to traditional finance. And this is the thing that's very unrealistic. Like, there's so much disinfo in the truther community. The more I tap into this quantum system, and, there's a lot of people saying 99% of cryptos are going to be zeroed out overnight. If you know anything about crypto, that's impossible. You can't do that. You can't just zero out something that's, been, like, you can manipulate, decentralized, you can manipulate different cryptocurrencies if if one or two people have like a large amount, like
large blocks. Yeah.
But if you've been watching what's been happening in the space, the white hats have been draining the swamp in the DeFi space as well. That's what predominantly the FBI is doing right now. They have a massive cyber unit that's seizing these corrupt accounts that are supporting the dark web. You have the FTX going down. It's right. Lotto. Just look at, you guys, like, the name Sam Bankman-Fried.
Bankman.
Fried means execution. It's like they're having so much fun with this.
And isn't it interesting that we just don't hear about that anymore? It just
right. It
magically went away. All those people lost all this money, and gee, that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're pulling, and that's why I think we've been in this huge bear market. A bear market means, like, that crypto space has been, like, very low for a long time because they've been pulling these corrupt accounts. But it's going to start to go, like, now it's a great time to get involved. Excellent time. And you guys, this is like think of it, when computers came out, people thought they were little toys. They were like, oh, this is not going to last, because they couldn't see the potential of it, and the possibility. And so this is like the same thing with the decentralized finance space. They think it's just going to tank and go away. It's the same kind of old traditional closed mindset. And once you actually tap into the potential, like, we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, what this space can do. Once the quantum computers come online, it's freaking unreal what this space can do. And, like, non-fungible tokens, smart contracts, that's going to replace every single parasitic middleman entity on this planet. It's going to replace bankers, realtors, lawyers. That's all going to go. So that's going to put more money in both pockets, the buyer and the seller. So overall, it's a very prosperous system that's based on unity, community, and abundance. So it's definitely a bridge to where we're going. It's not going to go away. That's why Elon Musk, for example, has been supporting it since day one. I don't think that's the real Elon Musk, but just think of it like, why do you think? So currency, for example, currency means the energy exchange. It's a form of energy exchange. Anything that we, the people, assign value to can be currency, whether that be seashells or Bitcoin or fiat money, that's backed by nothing, whatever, silver, gold. So Elon Musk, it's hilarious because there's so many memes in this space. It's so high frequency. That's when I first got into it, I was like, oh my God, this space is awesome. There's so much humor. The number one coin that he loves is Dogecoin. And if you look at Dogecoin, the brand of it's like this cute little like Shiba Inu dog. And it was actually originally created as a joke. Like they didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And so just think about it. Would you rather, because money, currency is frequency, which we're moving into a higher frequency, right? So would you rather trade in these cute little playful dog coins, or would you rather trade in these, this money that has the reptilian Queen Elizabeth on it?
Yeah. Well, Katie, people are going to ask, they're going to say, okay, well, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. How in the world do I get started in this world of, decentralized finance?
Yeah. So, the best thing is to just jump right into it. We have an amazing supportive community that I work with, that we support a number. So my goal, and so half my time's the plasma ship stuff, half my time's, because basically I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm a pilot. We prepare for the worst case scenario. If nothing gets handed to us on a silver platter, I'm ready to fund these intergalactic hubs. And so I've manifested this money machine on the side, multiple streams of income, through just focusing on that and asking for it. And in that process, I've met and formed this amazing community of heart-centered, like-minded souls who are in service to others, humanitarians that are connecting on a quantum level and supporting each other in this space. So, if anyone wants to get involved, you can email me. You can put my email in the comments if you want, but we walk everyone through it. Everyone who wants to get involved, we help them through the process, and they're supported in a community. And, you can just earn passively if you want, but the thing is, it's hilarious that people think the Alliance is just going to give out this digital wallet because, like, as because you've been in the space, you can't learn it overnight. It's a very steep learning curve. And so I honestly believe that a lot of these avenues that we're going into are part of Jacera, and the ones that we found, and the Alliance want us to support these avenues because we're not only helping each other out and holding each other's hand through the process, and you have that support system behind you, so you don't get, because to be honest, 9 out of 10 of these things that I'm involved in, if you just go into the space blindly, they're scams. And so we're working with mentors who've been in the space for 6 to 12 years who have learned the hard way. And we learn, basically, we just follow them and learn through them. And they're like, but we're in a supportive community at the same time. And if you know anything about manifesting and the quantum, when you're working as a collective like that, because anyone who starts to do this with me, I'll get to know you. We'll get to know each other really, really well, because we do spend a lot of time together. We're doing our first gathering in September at Oak Island in North Carolina, which is really awesome because we're gonna all come together as a community. But when you work together like this as a collective, it amplifies that field of abundance and prosperity, and everyone is celebrating every week of like with the returns they're getting, and that excitement, joy, gratitude. When you put that out there and you're open to receive, and you're working together, it's so powerful. And when I was involved, when I started to get involved with this, it just occurred to me, I'm like, you guys, this is what they want us to do, because we're already forming our communities. Everyone I'm connected to, I'm going to be working with them with creating these intergalactic hubs and humanitarian projects. And we're all teaching each other how to come into abundance together. So it's just, there's nothing like it, guys. And everything is at our disposal. But the thing is, people aren't seeing it or coming. Like, you have to be in resonance to connect with it. And so that involves like doing your inner work, clearing your blocks around receiving abundance. And, you know, we've been enslaved for so long that when actually fair, equal opportunity presents itself, we have this cognitive dissonance that kicks in. Oh, that's too good to be true. That's too good to be true, because like slavery has become so normalized.
Yeah, that yes, we are conditioned and programmed to be dutiful slaves, you know, just like our entire school system was created to make good factory workers and you know, obedient slaves for the empire. Yeah, no doubt.
If people
So,
only knew that the banks were like easily making 300x on our money, you know, like
oh
it's
yeah,
like that's
uh,
our money.
I mean that's so basic, and the fact that you know not that many people even understand the current you know scam money system that just blows my mind that they're not even interested in finding out how that works. I mean, that's amazing to me. So
Yeah.
I want to touch back on the whole idea of you know like a lot of people are holding dinars and dongs and different and Zim what was the other one, Zim notes or
Them
something.
bonds. Yeah.
Yeah, Zim bonds. What do you think? Have you heard anything about those? Are they going to convert to some kind of
Yeah.
quantum system, or how is that going to work? Any news on that?
Well, I did get guided to purchase some of those earlier on. The bonds, the Zim bonds and stuff. Yeah, I do believe they're going to allow avenues for an exchange, but you know, knowing what's happening with the reevaluation of currencies, obviously that's going to hedge. You're holding those currencies way is much better than holding, you know, US dollar or the euro in the long term, right? So I don't know if they'll do the massive jump that, you know, like they're promising Dong is going to do like 3.2 million or something ridiculous or whatever. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know, I'm open to whatever. It's like, you know, if we can manifest this, why not? You know, that's like,
Yeah.
so, but it's at the same time, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to sit by the river and wait. You know, it's like I'm going to action and manifest something in the here and now. I'm not going to wait for just someone to flip a switch and hand you, you know, this massive exchange. So, you know, I know the Zim bonds, you know, I do intuitively feel that those were created to protect we the people, especially the Zimbabweans, because that's one of the richest countries in the world.
And
Um,
haven't they put out some kind of a gold coin or something? They're doing something with gold in Zimbabwe, aren't they?
yeah, I think it's one of the next countries to actually be gold backed, you know, in a way. So I do think something will come to fruition over that with the foreign currencies. Um, I don't know how exactly it's going to present itself, but you know, like my training, my pilot training is like, you know, expect the best, expect like the best case scenario, but prepare for the worst. And so I always just prepare for the worst, but I'm manifesting that that's going to happen. And I think everyone should take that approach right now because okay, again, like the alliance are are aware that if like just look at lottery, like the lottery winners, you know, it's like none of them have any like it's just I'm generalizing, but for the most part, they say that most people who win the lottery they blow that money within a year because they haven't learned how to manage money, they haven't learned how money operates, and they haven't actually opened up to receive and have that flow of energy within themselves because that involves clearing your blocks on receiving, which is a huge trauma in the collective, by the way. Like people have massive resistance to receiving and to to energy exchange,
Oh yeah, getting all that dirty money, right? You know,
which is yeah, which is
we've been
okay.
programmed for that.
Right? And when you think of it, it's a huge spell, a black magic spell that they've casted on the collective, because what is currency? Okay, it's energy exchange, the inflow, outflow of life force energy. And so if they've created this, like, money is, oh, it means greed, it means it's like this, Dr. like, or Mr. Burns kind of Simpson, like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's gross, you resist, like, block, then you're not going to have that natural ebb and flow in your energy field. And what is receiving? Receiving is the feminine aspect. So when you open to receive, that's like you're creating a vacuum system in your light body, and you're able to magnetize exactly what you need on your path or your mission. So, the feminine aspect has been, like, basically taken out of strategically. But, we can't move forward without healing this huge wound in humanity. And that's where I want to get back to the Space Force symbol and what it represents. If I can share my screen, I'll kind of go into a bit of that.
Yes, please do.
Okay,
And
so
you mentioned being a pilot, and I know that people that saw your first show with us here will understand what you're talking about, but some others may not. So I'm sure you can touch on that too, right?
yeah, I can definitely go into that. Okay, can you see this?
Yep.
All right, so okay, so the ancient mercenaries of the ancient starseed bloodlines, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, the ancient tribes that came here with our true cosmic history, they had mercenaries that were protectors of the bloodlines. And these were the original mercenaries that basically took out the baddies, the cabal, back in the day. And the undistorted symbol of these mercenaries, called the Knights of Templar, was this symbol right here. Over time, it got a little bit distorted, but it's what people refer to as the Maltese cross. Now, what is the Maltese cross? Well, if you look at it, it's got 4 arrows pointing inwards. So that represents receiving. That's the feminine aspect. Not only that, but if you count the points on it, there's 13 points, including the center. So that's 13 moon cycles. So that's the true calendar system. So that was when we had peaceful matriarchal societies. We used 13 months instead of 12. And then we went down, we went to, with the hijacking and stuff, we went to 12, the distorted calendar. Everything was inverted and confused, basically. And so if you break up this symbol, what do you get? You get the Space Force symbol. So when you tune into the Space Force symbol, that actually is it's a feminine aspect.
Okay, did you pull it up?
Well, I don't think I have a picture of it, but it's on my shirt.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right. All right.
Yeah, that's one piece of it. But this one is pointing up because it's like telling people to look to the sky. Yeah. So again, like, this is about receiving, open to receive. So like we become a vacuum system, a magnetic system. Once we clear the gunk that's on our field and our traumas and stuff and our blocks to receiving abundance. And so until we do that as a collective, we're not going to come into resonance, because everything has already happened, right? Because time doesn't exist. It's not linear. Everything happens simultaneously. So when we do that as a collective, we actually will meet the RV and Jacera and these times of abundance and stuff. So, but for those who have already done that work, including myself, because now I was never, I actually had massive blocks, and it took me, 3-4 years to clear that, but I had to actively clear it through a lot of inner work. But when I did that, I started attracting exactly what I needed. And so for those who are already in a resonance with those frequencies, those higher frequencies, there's tools and opportunities already in existence.
Okay, so let's touch on what the galactics have been telling you. If we could go back, maybe give us some history about our world, their role in it, and now bring us up to the present time, what their role is and what they're trying to move us into or help us, like you said, gently nudge us into higher awareness, higher consciousness. But let's talk about a little bit of the history first of the galactics.
Mm. Yeah, so from as you know, from what I know, like I don't really look at third party material. I've never really read a galactic book or anything like that. I just go with what they tell me in the here and now. So whatever is important to the mission in this here and now, that's what I will receive or remember. I have a lot of information in my field, and I trust that whenever I come into like I need to come into resonance with something, like it's kind of like I call it timestamps. So when I hit certain timestamps, it's like I get a download or like, which is a memory, a packet, a parcel of information that gets released in my field and it comes into my consciousness. And so in terms of our galactic history, as far as I know, I can, some information that came in recently that I can talk about is that around the 1951, and goes back to this time looping, which a lot of people are getting caught up into. Around 1951, the dark faction were playing with something called electrum. Now, electrum's an alloy of gold and silver. And a lot of ancient alchemists, magicians would use that in ancient times and in terms of casting. And so electrum is really special because it contains 9 planetary energies. And so you can leverage these planetary systems energetically and hyper focus that on manifesting. And so you can create a outcome much in a faster time span by using it. But when you do use it, especially in a negative way, it affects the lower and higher densities. And so it creates almost like a rip in the etheric field, from what I understand. And this is what basically opened up the etheric field for a lot of more hijacking from the dark faction. And when they were playing with this in 1951, the mothership that connects to the fleet of ships that are Earth-based here that I'm coming into, that we're resurrecting, it was orbiting off of Jupiter's largest moon. And it was being powered by electrum. And so it basically trapped it. Not only playing around with it in a dark way affected our planetary system, but it affected the whole galaxy and rippled out interdimensionally. So that mothership got caught in a time loop in 1951. So 1951 timestamp, the resonance of 1951, it got stuck in. Because again, it's resonance. Like time travel is just simply resonance. So when you increase your resonance, you're going into the future. When you decrease it, you're going into the past. And so with the mothership, it got stuck in this looping and it didn't have enough light quotient to actually propel forward out of that. It got trapped. And so a lot of the crew members, they were rescued and brought to the inner Earth of our planet. And so the work that we're doing right now is clearing that time loop. And that's what we're focusing on. And not only did it affect that mothership, it also affected silver and gold. So silver and gold, the resonance of silver and gold was locked down to 1951 timestamp. So it's not the frequency that it should be in this here and now. And that's why, again, we haven't even, the reevaluation hasn't happened, because we need to clear that to bring these precious metals back up to this here and now. And so like, this sounds really far out, but like, that's what's been coming in. And so, yeah, that was, a huge, and around that time you had all these agreements happening with Laura Eisenhower's great great grandfather. All that stuff kind of happened at around the same time, and the information that was coming in, they intentionally did this to trap that mothership, because that mothership's like, this is the third time we've come back here to try to resurrect these ships, and that was the second time, the second try. And so they intentionally did that to trap this mothership and to basically lock down the galactic system, because with that ship in a time loop, it's a freaking massive mothership. With it, it's stuck in a time loop. It's acting like a fork in the wheel of Jupiter's ascension. Jupiter is the largest planet in our system. And when Jupiter ascends to the fifth density, it becomes a sun. And so when that happens, it's clogging up the whole solar system, and including Earth's ascension. And so this has been confirmed, because when I was connecting with one of the fleet ships off of Hawaii, a good friend of mine told me an ancient prophecy that an indigenous elder told him. And he said, at the tip of the long mountain, when Jupiter rises, this object connected to Lemuria will reveal itself. And I didn't really think much of it until, like, I remote viewed the location of the Hawaii ship and I pinpointed it. And then when I was meeting and talking to him, we realized that where I remote viewed and pinpointed that ship, it was exactly in alignment to that prophecy. And the tip of the long mountains, the tip of Mauna Loa, that was recently active. And I always thought when Jupiter rises, I thought it meant like the position of Jupiter in the sky. No, it was when Jupiter ascends. When Jupiter ascends at the tip of the long mountain, this ship will come up. And so that aligns with exactly the other information we received about the mothership. Because when the mothership is freed of the time loop, it's able to come to this here and now, enter our atmosphere. Jupiter is ascending. We're going to have all this solar galactic storms, because it's like the recalibrating of all the energy systems. So we're going to have a lot of galactic activity and storms, and, big solar pulses happening, and energetic electromagnetic pulses to this planet. And the crew's going to be able to return to the mothership, and it's going to be able to enter our atmosphere. And with that, all the fleet ships are going to massively come online. All the plasma children, I call them, the souls who are connected to these ships that are here, they're going to start remembering big time their missions. And it's like, go. It's like green go. Like it's going to be massive. So we're doing a lot of work in the near future connected to that, and it's happening really fast, and we're going to have a huge quantum leap when that happens.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting idea there, and something to look forward to. And to a lot of people, that's going to be, oh my God, that's so wild and crazy, and how is it even possible? But
you'll see.
Again, we have to remind ourselves that our minds have basically been put in little boxes, through our culture, our educational system, our religions. All of these things tend to put our minds in little boxes so that we don't think that a lot of other things are even possible. But there's way more to the universe and creation than we could possibly imagine in this current consciousness that we're in now.
Exactly. Yep. Expanding your mind, being willing, what was it? I had three things that were the most important. It was being willing, expanding your mind, being open, and I can't remember the third one, but there's three things that are really important for all of us to embody right now.
Well, I always say, and I've been saying it for years in the show, we have to keep an open mind, because it's easy to slam something that we don't understand or we've never heard about before that sounds, it's crazy. Oh, you people are crazy. That's, it doesn't take any kind of, brain power or intelligence to do. What intelligent people should do is keep an open mind. Doesn't mean you have to take everything in that you hear as being the truth. And, that's beside the point. because you'll settle on that eventually. But have the ability and the open-mindedness to consider
Mm-hmm.
things when you hear them. That's all you need to do at this point. Consider the possibilities. And then if your intention is to learn and grow, you will navigate through all of that and be drawn to your path and the things that you need to learn and the things that you need to understand. They'll just come to you and you won't be able to even stop it. I know
Exactly.
that's been my whole life, it's just it's
Yeah.
whenever I focus on something that I really want to know, or I mean, it just comes to me. I don't even have to do much at all to find it.
Exactly. Yeah. And, we're in times of change, massive change. And if you're not willing to change, then you're going to get left behind. Like, I'm sorry, but, it takes everyone, like, as hard as it is, everyone's in their comfort zone and whatever, sitting and eating their popcorn. It's like you have to action and do the work and change. And the alliance isn't going to do everything for us. Actually, they're going to do nothing for us. Like,
Yeah.
because it's not going to serve us. Like, we have to be the ones to do it.
Right. Well, we have to rise up our consciousness, number one, enough to see things as they are. We need to see the control systems. We need to see the matrix. We
Mhm.
are inside a control system. And if you don't see that and you don't grasp what the reality of our situation is, you can't really go much from there. If you don't know you're in a jail, you can't escape it. So,
Yeah, right. And it's like the most powerful thing you can do is just walk away from those old systems, because by walking away, you're no longer feeding it energy and life force, and it will naturally collapse on a quantum level. So, you withdraw your energy and life force. You're the only one. You are the only one responsible for holding that thing up. The
yeah.
invisible line across, our sectioning out certain lines on our planet, like borders, like you're the only one responsible for creating that illusion.
Yeah, and it's real simple. The way we can change the world is we don't cooperate with anything that enslaves us. Period. We don't
Exactly.
cooperate with anything.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
see, a big challenge that we have is that we have this class of people called order followers. And without the order followers, whether they're police and sheriffs on the local level or military on a national level, if those folks ever became awake and conscious, it's game over, because that's all they've got on us right now. If they put out an edict, we're going to put out a mandate, you must do this, you must take this magic potion that's going to kill you eventually, all this kind of thing. If they don't have enforcers out there who are not conscious and will follow any orders just for a paycheck, if they don't have those, it's over. And I keep saying that non-cooperation is the key. So we have to, but first, in order to have that non-cooperation make sense, we need to understand the situation that we're in. And then don't cooperate with anything that goes against your morals, your ethics, your principles, your
Exactly.
God-given knowledge of right and wrong.
Hmm.
We all have that. We know what's right
Yeah.
and wrong. We don't have to even be told that. We know it.
Stop feeding the beast. Like,
Yeah.
simple as that. Stop feeding the beast. You're the only one feeding it. Stop it.
Yeah, and it's not a super easy thing to do. It takes intention. It takes desire to learn and grow and want better things for not only your own inner circle, your own family and friends, but for the world. For
Takes
everyone.
courage. Yeah,
We
it
want
takes
to.
courage. But what I always remind myself of is, what are we leaving for 5 generations down? Like, I'm doing this for them. Like, so whatever decision you're making, is it helping 5 generations down, or is it enslaving them? And then you have your
Mhm.
answer.
Yeah,
Make the appropriate
absolutely.
changes.
So in the near term, are you going to be doing more work with the ships? Tell us, for those that didn't watch the first show with you, tell us about these ships that are sort of buried around the world in different places.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a number of Earth-based ships that were left here. It was kind of like during Atlantean time period, where we could foresee, a lot of us had time travel capabilities back then, and we could foresee what was going to happen with Earth's liberation and like the enslavement and the basically falling down in density, and being under this frequency cloak or false frequency cloak. That's the fake light spectrum that we see in the sky. That's actually cracking open right now. That's why the northern lights have been so bright. And it's starting to reveal a lot of the negative ET technology that's been putting us into lower states of consciousness, et cetera, et cetera. So when we left these technologies, we knew we were going to come back to them. And we basically left certain genetic plant life that were going to assist in rehabilitating the ecosystems. There were frequency devices on the ships, basically massive Rife machine kind of like type technologies to help rehabilitate and bring back to balance the original blueprint of the planet and the original plant life that's been killed off. So we have a number of different things on these ships, and these ships were built with the intention of mimicking Earth herself. So they are as organic as you can get, and they're tapped into the mycelial network of the planet. And yeah, they're basically here to assist us in the cleanup process. So for example, one thing they showed me was, the whales have been the temporary stewards of the planet as humanity wakes up, and the whales have full consciousness, full memory, full memory of basically all of Earth's Akashic records. And so they have mapped out with their sonar system every single location where there's weaponry, pollution in our oceans. And they work in liaison with the Alliance, the galactics that are helping us out right now. And when we come into resonance with these technologies, we're going to be able to use them. They have like reverse replicators on the ships as well, so you can beam up any of the. So we're going to be working in coordination with the whales and the Alliance to basically clean up the oceans, and we can do that like. I was told like in under a month, like with the technologies that are on these plasma ships. So like everything you see in Star Trek is real. So we have like, replicators exist, but they got these like inverted replicators. So you can break down matter at its molecular atomic level. And so that's how we're going to do a lot of the cleanup process. And there's also like kind of planetary size Rife machines. So you can, certain parts, like for example, just giving an example of the power of frequencies is that a garden, for example, thrives when there's microbes. When you put microbes in a garden, it will flourish. So if you can take the frequency of microbes and put it in an orgone pyramid and put those orgone pyramids at the corner of your garden, and the plants will react like the microbes are actually there. So we have frequency, kind of like Rife machines that emit specific frequencies that will be able to tap into certain parts of the ecosystem that have been removed to basically bring everything back into balance. And my Andromedan contact, Ampty, he does a lot of that work already with one of the main Andromedan ships that have been helping us out. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of that type of work, working with basically the natural environment and bringing things back to where they were. And so we're going to advance extremely, extremely fast. These ships will be docked at these intergalactic hubs that we're planning to build. So a lot of the malevolent hubs that the negative factions used, they're intercoastal hubs. So a lot of them have submarine entrances underneath and docking stations underneath that are land masses near the coast, and underground facilities where the magnetic levitation ports are. And so we're going to be taking over those old malevolent hubs, transmuting the energies, and basically refurbishing them to house these ships. And to use them, it's going to be connected to space. It's connected to Space Force as well. So they're all going to be used on behalf of humanity, and we'll have these conscious hubs that will also have the facilities built to allow our Star Nation brothers and sisters to come and go and to teach and to share wisdom and information and resources as well.
Well, all I can say is I look forward to those days.
Yeah, it's going to be happening real soon. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm excited about that because the shit show that's going on now is not a whole lot of fun. And of course, you know,
Yeah.
we want to see a time when everybody can be abundant and happy and joyful, and you know, just the way life should be. You know, if we didn't have these evil mofo's out there mucking everything up.
Yeah, it's everything's happening fast, but we just got to focus on what we want to create. And when you trust the universe, trust, and you're on your path, everyone's here to share their unique gifts. Like I'm not no one special. Everyone here is a piece of the puzzle, and I don't work by myself. Like I said, I have a whole team behind me assisting with this process. And when we all connect with our inner gifts and inner wisdom and turn off all the noise and distractions and just purely focus on what brings you the utmost joy, excitement, and passion, and stay focused on that, you can't go off your path, and the universe will bring you everything you need to make that come to fruition. And everyone just needs to embrace that and really start trusting, and everything honestly will be handed to you that you need. And that's where we need to go as a collective. And
Awesome.
this process, we're going to meet these higher frequencies. We're going to be in these times of abundance, prosperity, unity, community much faster if everyone starts to do that and turns off the noise.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are predicting massive changes this year, especially in the summertime. So we look forward to that. We look forward to everybody, and like I said, you know, having a great life and you know, enjoying ourselves for a change and not being slaves. What a concept, huh? Can you imagine not being a slave anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a worthy goal for humanity. So anyway, Katie, thank you so much for sharing with us once again. We love hearing from you and talking with you. We love what you do, and we appreciate you. And we also appreciate all of you out there who, if you made it this far, amazing. We thank you. We're grateful to you too for hanging in there and listening to us and interacting with us. And of course, we read the comments when you put them out there, and of course, we do have a zero tolerance policy. If you just want to troll us, you know, we're just going to delete your comments. So please don't do that. But if you have constructive criticism or you know, nice things to say, we love to hear from you and love to interact with you. And I'll put a link in to Katie's contact info in the description, so that if any of you decide that you'd like to do that and you resonate with what she has to say, you can do so. But until the next time we get together, we'll see all of you inside the matrix. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.